Hello, my name is David Cortney, and today I'm going to be giving a basic overview of the tabla. We'll discuss what the tabla is, where it was developed, when it was developed, as well as some aspects of how to play it and something about the music of tabla. To begin with, the tabla is a pair of hand drums that are very common in South Asia. They're about 300 years old, which as far as Indian music is concerned is not a particularly old instrument, but in that 300 years it has become extremely popular. The tabla is used in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and even into Afghanistan. Perhaps more importantly, in the last 30 or 40 years we've seen tabla become rather popular even in the West and elsewhere around the world. Now, we tend to call the instrument tabla in a pair. Actually, this is not correct. Even in India it's called tabla as a pair, but really to be correct, only this drum is the tabla. However, for so many years it has been called tabla collectively. We'll go ahead and bow to common usage and refer to them both tabla. Now, if we want to be specific, a very good, easy way to tell them apart is the wooden drum is called the daya. Daya. Daya is a word that in Hindi and Urdu means right. And not surprisingly, this is the instrument which is played with the right hand. Now, the other drum, the larger one made of metal, is called the baya. Baya means left. And again, this is the instrument that for a right-handed person is played on the left-hand side. Let us become familiar with the basic parts of the tabla. The daya, which is the right-hand drum, has a number of parts. The head is known as the puri. Puri. Now the puri is made primarily of goat skin, but there's also some buffalo hide in the lacing. The lacing on the sides is known as tasma. This tasma is generally of buffalo hide. The wooden shell is known as lakdi. Lakdi is just a wood that in Hindi and Urdu means wood. There is a coil at the bottom that is very important for giving the lacing a place to attach. This is referred to as kundal. And then we have these wooden blocks which are very important in allowing us to adjust the tension on the drum, and these are known as gatta. Now everything is the same on the baya except that the shell is known as pital. Pital just means brass. Now one thing to keep in mind, India is a language with many languages and dialects. Just as a banana might be called something different every 100 miles, well, so too you have to expect that the parts of the tabla to have different names as we move from one linguistic area to another. Now, the interesting thing about tabla is that the way we conceptualize it. Unlike Western music, where we tend to conceptualize it in terms of a written score, the tabla is conceptualized according to a series of mnemonic syllables. These syllables are known as bol. Now the word bol literally means to speak. So when one is playing tabla, one tends to think in terms of the bol. For instance, in my mind it goes da 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 da. So this is a way that one conceptualizes it. So let's look at some of the important strokes of the instrument. One of the most fundamental strokes is a stroke which is called na. Now the way na is played, you have the last two fingers, specifically the ring finger, just touching the black spot, and then you strike with your index finger on the rim here. This is known as na. Within some styles, this is also known as ta. On our left hand, a very important stroke is called ga. Okay? With ga, you keep the wrist down, and with these two fingers, you come and reach over and strike on the opposite side of the black spot. This is ga. We have a stroke called ka. Ka is a flat, non-resonant stroke. Very flat, non-resonant. On the right hand, some other strokes we have 10. Now 10 is a very soft, resonant stroke. Again, our hand is in the same position, with the ring finger just touching the black spot, middle finger in the air, but you just lightly strike it in a resonant fashion in the place where the black spot and the skin come together. This stroke is called 10. Now we have combined strokes as well. If we take ta or na and combine it with ga, together it becomes dha. If we take 10 and if we take ga and combine them together, it becomes dhin. Now with dha, dhin, na or ta, and 10, we are able to do a number of basic accompaniment patterns. One of the most fundamental accompanying pattern is known as teen tal. But before we talk about how to play teen tal, I think it's necessary to go over some of the fundamentals of how Indian rhythm is conceptualized. Indian rhythm is conceptualized in some ways similar to the way Western rhythm is conceptualized. Just in the West, as we have the beat, the measure, and the cycle, so too in Indian music we also conceptualize it in terms of the beat, the measure, and the cycle. However, the terminology is different. The beat is known as matra, matra. The measure is known as vibhag, while the cycle is known as avratan. Now, although this part is the same, there is a fundamental difference in emphasis. Whereas in the West, the emphasis tends to be placed on the measure and on the beat. In Indian music, the emphasis tends to be placed upon the cycle. Since the emphasis is placed upon the cycle, having mixed measure is actually an extremely common thing to do. Well, now one thing that's also important to keep in mind is basic timekeeping. Timekeeping, just in the West, we would think in terms of time, in terms of the movement of a baton. For instance, the expression upbeat and downbeat doesn't refer to the beats, it refers to the movement of the baton. Well, in a similar way, when we are timekeeping in Indian music, we tend to focus in upon the measure. A measure is defined as being either a clap of the hand or a wave of the hand. And this might at first seem a little strange about what clapping and waving is all about, but this can be illustrated with a very simple example. Let's go to teen tal, which I had just mentioned, and let's say that teen tal, well, not just hypothetically, teen tal is 4 measures of 4 beats each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we think of it this way, there becomes a little problem. Let me show you the problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The basic problem is that after a while, we have no idea where we are. One 4-beat pattern becomes like another. Therefore, in order to get around this problem, an index is introduced, and that would be the wave of the hand. Now, a wave of the hand is of no more or less importance than a clap of the hand, but it does give us a way by which we can keep track of things. For instance, in teen tal, by definition, it will be a clap 2, 3, 4, clap 2, 3, 4, wave 2, 3, 4, clap 2, 3, 4. And since by definition the third measure is indicated by a wave of the hand, then we're able to know where we are. Teen Tal now becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So by the introduction of a wave, we're able to know where we are. Now this is all fine and good. This provides a very good conceptual framework, common ground by which all of our Indian instrumentalists, vocalists, or dancers can keep. For instance, if we are a sarod player, we might be doing all kinds of interesting things, but if we're playing in Teen Tal in our mind, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we're a sitarist, or a harmonium player, or a vocalist, or a Kathak dancer, we may be doing all different things, but still in our mind, Teen Tal will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's very good because we must have a common concept, because without a common concept we don't have music, we have noise. Okay, but you just simply can't go and get on stage and count and clap at the audience. You're going to have to play something. This brings us to the concept of teka. What teka is, well, the word teka literally means to support something, and it implies a basic rhythmic support for the vocalist or sitarist or whoever you are accompanying. A teka is a conventionally accepted pattern of bowls which is used to define the tal. Now the situation with Teen Tal, the teka becomes da, din, din, da, da, din, din, da, da, tin, tin, na, na, din, din, da. So when we play it, it goes like this. Da, din, din, da, da, din, din, da, da, tin, tin, na, na, din, din, da, da. That becomes Teen Tal teka. Now, we are allowed to ornament it. For instance, Teen Tal, we could ornament by throwing in some things and changing the emphasis of things and making substitutions. So now Teen Tal can go like this. That's still Teen Tal, but we've put ornamentation in. Now this is one thing that confuses many people who are just beginning to get involved in Indian music. They get confused because they hear the ornamentation and confuse that with the basic structure below it. Now, obviously there's no way that in a short period of time we can go over all of tabla, but there are a few other patterns that we can introduce at this point. One common pattern is known as dadra tal. Dadra. Dadra is a pattern of 6 beats. 6 beats divided into 3 matras and 3 matras. So that's 2 vibhags. The first vibhag, the first measure will be clap, the second vibhag will be wave. So dadra will be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now the basic bowl of the teka is da din na da tin na 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 da din na da tin na. If we wish to take it very fast, we can do different folk variations or lighter forms like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. This would be an example of a faster version of dadra. Rupak tal, 7 matras. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Tin, tin, na, din, na, din, na. Tin, tin, na, din, na, din, na. Tin, tin, na, din, na, din, na. So this is a basic introduction to tabla. We've shown that tabla is a pair of hand drums, very common in South Asia. When one plays it, one conceptualizes it according to a system of mnemonic syllables, and it's conceptualized, as in Western music, in 3 different levels of structure: beat, measure, and cycle. Within this, we have certain common patterns that are used to accompany music, which are known as teka, for which there are very many. Well, thank you. So until next time, namaskar.